Okay, good morning. My name is Wim de Verme from Hasselt University in Belgium. I'm chairing this session this morning, so I hope you had a good night rest. Welcome. Would like directly to introduce the first speaker of this morning session, which is Gordon Elger from the Technische Hochschule Ingolstadt in Germany, and he will talk today about particle-free copper inks.
Yeah, thank you very much for the introduction. I'm Gordon Elger. Actually, I worked 13 years. I studied and worked 13 years in Berlin, so therefore I'm always very happy to return to Berlin from Bavaria. So my talk today is about particle-free inks, particle-free copper inks, in principle metal salt-based inks. Okay, let's come to the introduction. We started at the Applied University of Ingolstadt 10 years ago when I started to work at the university with the development of copper sintering paste. So we started with using brass flakes, actually etching away the brass, putting them into a binder and using them for power electronic for sintering. Then we changed to pure copper flakes, but also where initially we worked on copper salt-based paste. We did there a lot of mistakes before we then got really inks working. Actually, we founded a company, Connext, in 23, which is now selling those copper flake-based copper sinter material mainly in the moment for the power electronic booming electromobility sector for power electronic inverters. Therefore, today I really want to focus on the inks. There we can distinguish just particle-free inks, where you just use a solvent which uses the metal salt, and actually the metal salt is copper formate. You can search for other salts, but in the end, so we're doing it, but we come back always to the copper formate. However, there is not very much copper formate dissolved in any organic liquid. Therefore, the approach we are using is a complex ink, where you use a complex agent to reduce the decomposition temperature of copper formate for sintering. And then, definitely, it's not a great idea. You can mix those two together to create hybrid paste, which have metal particles, metal flakes, copper flakes, and metal salts. Okay, what is the problem? You start with the metal salt. The salt has to decompose, release the copper. Then the copper forms particles, and you have to control the particle size. In principle, actually, you would like to form as much atomic copper out of the salt as possible to have huge amount of nucleation so that you form very many very small particles. However, that's a problem with outgassing. You can't do that so quickly because you have a lot of binder chemistry inside. So then when you do it on one way, you obtain large particles and small particles. You obtain too many big particles. You have to adjust the process that you obtain small, very small particles, which are then later on sintered together. Okay, in principle, there is the Oswald ripening, that the small particles, they form the large particles, and then you're ending up with a large particle. So in the end, you have to fight the Oswald ripening law to keep your particles small. How you do it? You do it with stabilizers, which are blocking the growth of the particles. Okay, then we can use it in printed electronics as paste, or we use it also for die attach. Therefore, you apply the ink, you form the particles, and then you sinter a die onto that thin layer. So in the end, the vision is for printed electronics that we print the traces. We have to dry then the ink, form the particles, place also components, and then do sintering of traces and of components in one step. That's the vision which we are following. So what is the ink? In principle, you start with the copper salt, you add the complexing agent.